The scorching sun beat down relentlessly on Jake Thompson as he revved his engine, ready to conquer the desert in the adrenaline-fueled Jeep rally race. The air shimmered with heat, mirages dancing on the horizon like tantalizing illusions. The thrill of competition surged through Jake's veins, propelling him forward with a burning desire to win. As the race commenced, a surge of excitement coursed through Jake's body. He skillfully maneuvered his Jeep through the rugged terrain, expertly navigating the treacherous twists and turns. But the desire for victory clouded his judgment, whispering enticingly in his ear. It urged him to take a risky shortcut, promising a shortcut to glory. With a daring grin, Jake veered off the designated path, his wheels kicking up plumes of golden sand. The familiar landscape faded into the distance, replaced by an expanse of barren desert. The heat intensified, pressing against his skin like an invisible weight. Realization struck him like a sudden gust of wind. He had made a wrong turn, a reckless gamble that now left him stranded in the unforgiving wilderness. Panic gnawed at his insides as the fuel gauge on his dashboard ominously dipped lower and lower. His throat tightened, parched and dry, mirroring the arid surroundings. No trace of civilization lay within sight, only the endless stretches of sand dunes that undulated like slumbering beasts. The vastness of the desert whispered tales of lost souls and forgotten dreams, sending a shiver down Jake's spine. A sinking feeling of isolation enveloped him, as if the desert itself conspired to consume him. In the midst of despair, a glimmer of hope flickered in the distance. Jake squinted, his eyes straining to make sense of the blurred figure waving frantically. Intrigue mingled with concern, drawing him towards the enigmatic presence. Without hesitation, he revved his engine and pushed forward, his curiosity outweighing caution. With each bump and jolt, the figure grew clearer, revealing a stranded family huddled together, their faces etched with desperation. Their clothes clung to their emaciated frames, the lines of thirst etched deep into their skin. They beckoned to Jake, their pleading eyes mirroring their parched lips. Compassion welled within Jake, overpowering the flicker of doubt that danced at the edges of his mind. The promise of rescuing fellow travelers in need, guiding them back to safety, fueled his determination. He slowed his Jeep to a stop, his heart pounding in rhythm with the blistering heat. "I'll help you," Jake declared, his voice filled with a mix of empathy and apprehension. "We'll find a way out of this desert together." The family's gratitude shone in their weary eyes as they eagerly climbed into Jake's Jeep. A sense of purpose washed over him, a fleeting triumph in the face of adversity. Little did he know, his act of kindness would plunge him into a nightmare far beyond his imagination, where thirst for water would soon be replaced by an insatiable thirst for something far more sinister. Jake Thompson felt a mixture of relief and concern as the family settled into the back seats of his Jeep. Their eyes gleamed with gratitude, their cracked lips whispering their desperate need for water. His heart swelled with empathy, pushing him to act as their savior amidst the desert's relentless grip. With a firm grip on the steering wheel, Jake steered the Jeep through the shifting sands, searching for any signs of civilization. The silence inside the vehicle was broken only by the occasional creak of leather seats and the haunting wind that whistled through the cracked windows. As they journeyed deeper into the desert, the atmosphere took an unsettling turn. Jake's instincts prickled, a nagging sense of unease creeping up his spine. He stole glances at the family through the rearview mirror, their previously hollow eyes now gleaming with a hint of something otherworldly. Conversations grew scarce, replaced by a heavy silence that hung in the air like a shroud of impending doom. The family's behavior became increasingly peculiar, their movements synchronized and devoid of human idiosyncrasies. Jake couldn't shake the nagging feeling that their innocence was nothing more than an act, a facade concealing something far more sinister. Occasionally, a fleeting glance from Caleb, the family's patriarch, sent a chill coursing through Jake's veins. The once desperate eyes held a spark of malice, hidden beneath a veneer of need. The questions burned within Jake's mind, the truth hovering just beyond his grasp. The desert stretched before them, a desolate landscape that seemed to reflect the darkness hidden within the family. Jake's grip tightened on the steering wheel, his determination warring with a growing sense of dread. He knew that unveiling their true nature would mean facing an unthinkable horror, but his instincts told him that the time for caution had come. With each passing mile, the family's disguise cracked further, revealing glimpses of their true selves. Their laughter held a haunting quality, echoing through the barren expanse like a macabre symphony. Jake's pulse quickened, his mind racing to uncover the truth that lurked beneath their charade. As the desert sun sank below the horizon, casting long shadows across the dunes, Jake couldn't ignore the nagging truth any longer. The family he had rescued was far from innocent. They were creatures of the night, thirsting not for water, but for something far more sinister. The realization struck him like a bolt of lightning, freezing him in his tracks. Fear and adrenaline coursed through his veins as he grappled with the unimaginable fate that awaited him. He knew then that his journey to save the family would become a desperate race to save himself from the clutches of these desert-dwelling monsters. Fear gripped Jake Thompson's heart as the truth of the family's identity settled like a heavy fog around him. They were no longer innocent, lost souls in need of rescue, but creatures of darkness, thirsting for his blood. As the moon reached its zenith, casting an ethereal glow over the desert, the family's facade crumbled entirely. Their features contorted into grotesque forms, their eyes glowing with a sinister hunger that sent chills down Jake's spine. Desperation fueled his every move as he accelerated the Jeep, the engine roaring to life in sync with his pounding heart. The once helpless family now morphed into agile predators, their inhuman speed closing the distance between them and Jake. The desert night became a twisted labyrinth of terror, the shifting dunes seemingly conspiring against him. Jake's senses heightened, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of salvation. A glimmer of hope flickered in his chest as he spotted a distant rally jeep racing toward him, its headlights piercing the darkness like beacons of salvation. His voice hoarse from shouting, Jake summoned every ounce of strength, his pleas for help echoing through the desolate expanse. The rally driver, a friend of Jake's, heard his cries and skillfully maneuvered the vehicle closer, defying the treacherous terrain. In a heart-stopping moment, the two jeeps aligned, their occupants locking eyes. Jake's friend, recognizing the urgency in his gaze, wasted no time. The door swung open, a lifeline dangling before Jake's desperate grasp. Without hesitation, Jake leaped from his Jeep, his feet pounding the sand as he sprinted towards salvation. The desert monsters, now enraged by the prospect of losing their prey, pursued with a primal fury. Their distorted shrieks filled the air, reverberating through the night like a haunting chorus. Time stretched to a torturous crawl as Jake closed the distance, his heart pounding in sync with each stride. Just as the gnarled fingers of the creatures grazed his back, Jake flung himself into the rally jeep, the door slamming shut behind him. Safety enveloped him like a shield, a temporary respite from the clutches of impending doom. Adrenaline coursed through his veins as his friend accelerated, leaving the monsters behind in a cloud of dust and despair. Jake's chest heaved with a mixture of relief and terror, the ordeal etching deep scars in his memory. As the rally jeep carried him away from the nightmare that had unfolded in the desert, Jake knew that the battle was far from over. The creatures, driven by an insatiable thirst for blood, would not rest until they had claimed their prey. He clung to the flickering hope that remained, vowing to outwit and outrun his supernatural pursuers. The desert, once a place of adventure and exhilaration, had transformed into a realm of unspeakable horror. The road ahead stretched into the unknown, fraught with danger and uncertainty. With every passing mile, Jake's determination grew, fueled by the need to survive and expose the true nature of these desert-dwelling demons. As the rally jeep sped through the desert, Jake Thompson's mind churned with a mix of relief and lingering terror. The moon, now hanging low in the sky, cast an eerie glow over the barren landscape, illuminating the twisted forms of the creatures he had narrowly escaped. Beside him, his friend, the rally driver, gripped the steering wheel with white-knuckled determination. The weight of their shared ordeal hung heavily in the air, urging them forward with an urgent sense of purpose. Through the dusty windshield, Jake caught glimpses of his pursuers in the rearview mirror, silhouettes of darkness racing against the dying light. Their menacing presence served as a stark reminder that the nightmare was far from over. The rally driver, sensing the gravity of the situation, pushed the jeep to its limits, navigating treacherous terrain with a deft hand. The engine roared, matching the pounding of Jake's heart as they weaved through the desert, searching for a way to outrun their relentless foes. Desperation fueled their every move, urging them closer to the faint glimmer of civilization on the horizon. The road ahead twisted and turned, a treacherous path that mirrored the precariousness of their situation. As the first rays of dawn peeked over the horizon, the rally driver spotted a small outpost in the distance. Hope surged within Jake, a flicker of salvation amidst the encroaching darkness. The rally jeep raced toward the outpost, the promise of safety beckoning them forward. With tires screeching, the rally jeep skidded to a halt in a cloud of dust. Jake and his friend leaped out, their bodies weary but driven by the urgency to escape. They pounded on the outpost door, their cries for help echoing through the stillness of the early morning. The door creaked open, revealing a startled figure, the outpost caretaker. Their words tumbled out in a rush as they explained the horrors they had endured, their pleas for assistance intertwining with gasps for breath. The caretaker, her eyes wide with disbelief, quickly assessed the situation. Realizing the imminent danger, they ushered Jake and his friend inside, bolting the door behind them. Inside the outpost, the air hung heavy with a mixture of relief and lingering dread. Jake's gaze drifted to a cracked mirror, his reflection a testament to the ordeal he had endured. The battle was far from over, but for now, they had found temporary sanctuary. As the morning sun bathed the desert in a golden glow, Jake Thompson vowed to fight back against the creatures that had sought to claim his life. With renewed determination, he prepared to confront the darkness that lurked within the desert's depths, knowing that the final battle for survival awaited.